as you come in. My name is Vanessa. I want to read a little bit of the book of Romans, chapter 13 and 14 with you. Come on in. I thank you all for some of your time. Come on in. Hello, hello, hello as you come in. Talking about your shortcomings, the things that you don't feel capable of doing, you feel incompetent about doing, or maybe you have lost your confidence. You once had confidence, but not so much anymore. Situations have caused you to feel that way. Maybe some people have caused you to feel that way. You've lost your confidence. And life can happen like that. So many things can happen to cause you to lose your confidence. Where you once felt like you was a little bit indispensable. I can go up against a brick wall. Me and that brick wall is going to contend with each other. But now you even feel nervous about swatting at a fly because somebody or somebody's or situations have caused you to feel that way. But know that all is not lost. You can regain your confidence, and there's strategy to regain your confidence. And especially where you feel weak, know that God is strong. You can lean on him, and he will let you lean on him and rebuild you. So I want to bring the story of God sending people to spy out the land that he's sending Israel to, and how the people felt insecure and incompetent. They didn't feel like they could do it. So let's look at chapter 13 of the book of Numbers. And it's going to be a little bit of reading here, but I'm going to try to skip through and not just read straight through. In chapter 13, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, and I'm sitting outside, you all here in the car, but the windows are down, so you're going to hear construction sounds around. Send thou men that they may search the land of Canaan, which I gave to the children of Israel. Of every tribe of their fathers shall you send a man. So he's sending representatives, and I'm not going to name all of those representatives. And start at the verse 4 and goes through verse 15. So let's jump over to 16. These are the names of the men which Moses sent to spy out the land. And Moses called Oshea the son of Nun, Jeshua. And Moses sent them to spy out the land of Canaan and said to them, get you up this way southward and go to the mountains and see the land, what it is, and the people that dwell therein, whether they be strong or weak, few or many, and what the land is that they dwell in, whether it be good or bad, and what cities they be that dwell there, in tents or in strongholds. And what is the land, whether it be fat or lean, whether there be wood therein or not. And be ye of good courage, and bring the fruit of the land. Now they have quite a number of tasks they have to fulfill there. They're going to see what provisions is in the land, because God already knows what's in the land. We know that. And we see a recapture of this same story over in Deuteronomy. And this is why I'm saying God already spied out the land. God knows everything, but he's sending humans to do their part, to build their confidence. What God sends people to do, he sends us to do still today. God already knows the beginning, the end of a thing from the beginning of time. Life is not new. What's going on now has always been. We're just coming in on it because this is our first time living our life experience. But we're living life in reverse. We're living history. So here it is. He's telling the people where to go and what kind of reports that they need to, what type of information to gather. Let's jump over. At verse 23, and they came to the brook of Eshcol and cut down from thence a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bare it between two upon a staff, And they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. The place was called the brook of Eshcol, because of the cluster of grapes, which the children of Israel cut down from there. And they returned from searching out the land. For 40 days they were there on their reconnaissance trip. And they went and came to Moses and to Aaron and to all the congregation of the children of Israel in the wilderness of Paran to Kadesh, and brought back the word unto them and unto all the congregation, and showed them the fruit of the land. And they told him and said, We came to the land whither thou hast sent us, and it surely flows with milk and honey, and this is the fruit thereof. This is the proof. Nevertheless, the people be strong that dwell in the land, and the cities are walled and very great. And moreover, we saw the children of Anak there. The Amalekites are in the south land, the Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites are in the mountains. The Canaanites dwell by the sea and along the coast of the Jordan. And Caleb stilled the people before Moses and said, Let us go up at once and possess it. But the men that went with him said, We be not able to go up against those people. They are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report of the land, which they searched out unto the children of Israel. The land through which we have gone to search it out, it is a land that eat up the inhabitants. Now listen to this report. The land eat up the inhabitants, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. So again, they said that this report was evil, because Joshua said, we can do it. We can overtake these people, and we can inhabit that land. But the remainder people, because there was representatives from each tribe, 12 men that went, and the other remaining 11 men said, we can't do it. Because the people, the land is a land that is full of famine. There's not much provision there. The people are sickly, they're weakly, and the land is eating up the people. In verse 33, and there we saw the giants, the son of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. So we were in their sights also. Now, they didn't gave two reports there. They said, we see our own self as grasshoppers. Now, then they jump in somebody else's mind, and they see us that way too. When you see yourself one way, and then you perceive how somebody else might see you. Because again, fear and intimidation. And we can paralyze ourselves with our own thoughts. I can't do it because somebody else is not going to let me do it. They see me this way, but sometimes we're projecting our own thoughts of how we see ourselves on someone else, and say they see me that way too, when we can be handicapping our own self. Let's go to chapter 14 in the book of Numbers, chapter 14. And all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron. And the whole congregation said unto them, What God that we die here in the land of, we had died in the land of Egypt, or what God that we die here in the wilderness? Wherefore hath the Lord brought us into this land to fall by the sword, that our wives and our children should be a prey? Were it not better for us to return to Egypt? And they said unto one another, Let us make us a captain, and let us return to Egypt. Then Moses and Aaron fell on their faces before the assembly of the congregation and all the children of Israel. And Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, which were of them that searched out the land, tore their clothes. And they spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, The land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If the Lord delight in us, then he will bring us into the land and give it to us, a land which flow with milk and honey. Only rebel not against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. Now, this is the report of Joshua and Caleb, bringing a report of we can. I can. If God says we can do such and such a thing, then we can do it because the Lord is with us. But the remainder of 11 people or 10 people that went with them from the other tribe representatives, they said we can't do it. So this is the report say if God is with us, he's more than man that is against us, because God makes the way. And we're going to see how God will make the way when people stand with what God says, because our own thoughts, and then looking around our situation, looking around your community, looking around at what probably is visibly there. It could be a threat there. There could be powers that be that is against you because they have the authority to be against you and could bring you down, could bring great harm. But if God says this is what is going to happen, then let the events of life take place. Okay, so going to verse 10. But all the congregation bade stone them with stones, and the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation. And the Lord said unto Moses, how long will this people provoke me? And how long will it be ere they believe me? For all the signs which I have shown among them. So, because remember, they have already seen a lot of signs just coming before they came out of Egypt. How God used elements to come against the Egyptian community. He used nature. He used sickness. When God gets involved, there is nothing in the human space, not just the human space, but in the earth space, that cannot be used, because the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. That's why when we stand with God and we send out our faith from us, standing in what God says to stand in, even though your belly get nervous, your whole body get nervous, we have to keep reminding and psychologically programming ourselves and reminding ourselves, but God says, only provoke not the Lord thy God, and rebel not against him. And verse 12, I smite thee with the pestilence. See, there's this is the intervention of God, a pestilence, and disinherit them. And I will make of thee a greater nation and mightier than they when the tables turn. And Moses said unto the Lord, then the Egyptians shall hear it. So Moses is getting ready to ask God to change his mind. Repent, my Lord, please change your mind, because God is upset with those 11 men or those 10 men that of Israel that had a bad report. He's upset with them and he wants to chastise them. So here's Moses asking God, don't do it. Don't chastise them. And Moses said unto the Lord, then the Egyptians shall hear of it, and they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land. For they have heard that thou art Lord. Wait a minute, y'all. Get this stammering tongue right. For they have heard that thou, Lord, art among his people, that thou, our Lord, art seen face to face, and the cloud standeth over them, and thou goest before them by day in the pillar of a cloud. Now if thou kill all the people as one man, then the nations which heard the fame of thee will speak, saying, because the Lord was not able to bring his people into the land which he sware unto them. Therefore he has slain the people in the wilderness. So that's why Moses is asking God to repent, saying people are going to hear about it, and people are going to do what people always do. God is not God. Their God is not God. He's not able to sustain his people. And verse 19, pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquities of this people, according unto the greatness of thy mercy, and as thou hast forgiven this people from Egypt even until now. And the Lord say, I have pardoned according to thy word. He yielded and repented or recanted according to what Moses asked him to. The relationship, building a relationship with God. Let's drop down to verse 22. Because of all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened unto my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he hath another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully, whom I will bring unto the land wherein he went. And verse 26, and the Lord said, spake unto Moses and to Aaron, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation, which murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which murmur against me. Say unto them, as truly as I live, said the Lord, as you have spoken in my ears, so will I do to you. Your carcass shall fall in the wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number, from 20 years old upward, which have murmured against me, doubtless you shall not come into the land, concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb and Joshua. But your little ones, which you shall bring, then will I bring in, and they shall see the land. So God will cause the people 20 years old and upward to pass away right there. Now look at this, you all. Because of the report of a few, because it was representatives of every tribe that went to spy out the land of Canaan. They was there for 40 days spying out the land to see what was the provisions of the land, the strength of the land, the people, what was their strength. And because they became fearful and intimidated, those representatives came back to their communities and started spreading a negative report, causing other people to murmur and complain. Because all the congregation, the whole assembly of people didn't go, just representatives went. But see what representatives one person can do? One person can come back and spoil the brew. Come back and spoil the family. Come back and discomfort or disencourage a group of people. One person can do it. One. Because people, again, are highly influenced by other people. That's why it's not good to think in group thought. Be an individual. Seek God for yourself. Be an individual thinker. Meet God for yourself. And get in relationship with God for yourself. So when you hear a report of something, you can just hear it lightly and dismiss it, instead of everybody becoming a monolith. And everybody in the community start thinking alike. That's dangerous. To be a group think and be a collective thinker is dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. You can go against God like that by thinking you're standing in community, and you could be standing against God. And he said that he was going to, all the people 20 years and upward was going to die right there in the wilderness, but not their small children, because God wanted to give a fresh start to a new generation of people. That has not changed. God will still, he will halt an older generation to give the next generation, the younger generation, a chance. In verse 32, but as for you, your carcasses that shall fall in the wilderness, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear your whoredoms. Look at what God called that. Pay attention to that word whoredom. What whoredom is to God is not necessarily with using the loins as we may know it today, but it's using these loins, the loins of the mind, in doubting God, until your carcass be wasted in the wilderness, after the number of the days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall you bear your iniquities, even 40 years and ye shall know my breach upon promise. I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered against me in the wilderness, and they shall be consumed, and they shall die. And the men which Moses sent to search out the land who returned, and all the congregation to murmur against him by bringing up a slanderer of the land. See, a few people cause many to start complaining. Even those that did bring up the evil report upon the land died by a plague before the Lord. A plague, an outbreak, an epidemic, a pandemic. Whatever, God don't have one way to move. God is still God forever, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, fam. God is not different. God is not different. Even those men that did bring up the evil report upon the land died by the plague. But Joshua and Caleb, which were of the men that went to search out the land, lived. They didn't die. Their families didn't die. They went. And Moses told those sayings unto the children of Israel and to the people, murmured, and the people murmured greatly. And they rose up early in the morning and gat them up unto the top of the mountain, saying, Lo, we be here, and we will go up unto the place which the Lord has promised, for we have sinned. And Moses said, Wherefore now do you transgress the commandments of the Lord? But it shall not prosper. Go not up, for the Lord is not among you, that you be not smitten before your enemies. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites are there before you, and ye shall fall by the sword, because you are turned away from the Lord. Therefore the Lord will not be with you. But they presumed to go up into the hilltop. Nevertheless, the ark of the covenant of the Lord and Moses departed not out of the camp. Then the Amalekites came down, and the Canaanites, which dwelled in that hill, and smote them, and discomfited them, even unto Hormah. The people of God, these was God's people, the people of Israel, and he told them not to go. And look at what happened to them. And this is what brings about a question for me in our new covenant agreements. And today's people, these statements of, to me, it's a braggadocious statement, and it's an unwarranted statement, and it is it's a pompous statement, you all. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. That's a dangerous thing to say. Because even though weapons can be formed, first of all, nobody said a weapon won't be formed. Now we got to see what weapons are. Weapons are plans. Weapons are devices. Weapons can be, they could be laws. They can be plans. They can be propositions. They can be measures. They can be policies. They can be customs. They can be culture. Weapons are everything. Everything can be a weapon. If it comes up against the knowledge of God, if it calls people to fall in their principles and values and morality, it's a weapon. Families can have weapons in it, and these are not weapons of destruction like guns and boards and hammers and natural things like that. It's information. It's information that causes other people's mind to shift from the focus of God to a different direction, and your focus is turned away from God, and your values, our values and our principles fall. Those are weapons, because they cause younger generations to fall. They weaken the next generation. So, and when people say weapons should not prevail against me, yes, they will. If the people don't know what a weapon is, if we don't have a good view of what that weapon is, it is causing society to fall. It's causing your family to fall. It's causing you to fall. Because God does not operate in piousness. We have to be a humble people and keep coming back to God saying, show me who I am. Reconciling ourselves back to God, because we're fighting against our old nature, our sin nature. We fight against that nature and let our regenerated nature grow stronger. So we cannot be too big for our britches, per se. because this was God's people and he allowed them to fall. Why didn't God protect his people? They were his people. The new generation or new covenant saints, as professed to be followers of Jesus, is God's people. But God will allow people to fall if the people go against God. He will allow it. We want to stay in the saving grace of God, try our best, even through our falter, try our best to appease God in our values and our principles. But what I wanted to again point out there is that our shortcomings can make a veil of God's strength, because as we can see ourselves weak and small as grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we think other people see us as weak and small as grasshoppers also, and maybe they do, maybe they don't. But at the same time, leaning on what God says to do. If God tells you to go forward into something, to pursue something, to take on an undertaking, then the phone was overheating. But trust in the Lord, you all. When your circumstances look unsurmountable, it can take a strategy to surmount it. But first, you need to rest in the Lord, and don't compromise your values before the Lord. Don't defy the Lord, and He will fight that battle for you. There's no new battles. They're just new battles to us. Take care of you all. Give a like to the video, comment, and come back and visit the channel again. Again, my name is Vanessa. Thank you for your time today.